You want to know what the best pals you can get at the beginning of your playthrough of Palworld are? Then this video is for you. I'm Vadd, and I'll be going over all the best pals you should focus on getting in the early game. I'm going to consider the early game levels 1 through 26, as at level 26 you'll unlock the power generator. I'm going to be showing you here exactly where to get these pals, what bonuses you'll get from them, and why you want to pick these pals. I've studied, tested, and carefully picked the best early game pals. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. My first recommendation is to focus on these Vixys. These are a really great tame as they passively are going to get you some pal spheres. Right at the start of your base, you'll be getting down your berry box, building out your berry farms so you can feed your pals. However, none of these things matter if you don't have pal spheres to go catch pals. Vixys can be placed inside the farm. You can hold up to 4 of them currently in a farm, which is pretty sweet. And then they can passively generate pal spheres for you. Awesome. Open up your Palpedia. When you're on the Palpedia page, you're going to be able to scroll over to the stats and then the habitat tab. Inside of the habitat tab, it's going to give a glowing outline on where on the map this creature lives for daytime and for nighttime. You open up your map, this is the starting zone right here. You can see there's going to be a small settlement fast travel point. This is going to be the closest fast travel point for us. From the small settlement fast travel point, we're just going to make our way up the hill here. And we're going to be right in this zone from the Palpedia where the Vixys are in their habitat. Right up the hill here, you can go left, you can go right. Either way, you're still inside of that zone, which is worth keeping your eye on. I got lucky and got some out here out front, which is pretty great. We're still just in this zone. Anywhere in that orange zone during day, there's a chance Vixys are going to spawn in and then just go crazy. This is a great starter early game pal simply because of the fact that it's easy to catch. You can catch them with pal spheres. You don't need anything too tricky. You can beat them down with your hands. You can beat them up, take them home, make them your friend. Do your pal tainment, pal sphere throwing thing. Listen, Vixys are going to be not only easy to catch, but easy to find. If they're not out here, clear the zone and just respawn, and you might find them. Now, back at the base. Reasons we pick the Vixys. They drop pal spheres, but they also drop arrows, gold coins, and bones. And these are all great early game resources. You can also condense Vixys with the pal condenser, unlocked at level 14. This is going to allow you to level up their skill, their dig here skill that lets them drop those 4 items, find those 4 items. You can see here the skill, dig here, sometimes digs up items from the ground when assigned to the ranch. The pal sphere condenser, the pal condenser, no spheres, just condenser, is going to let you condense Vixys. So each Vixy you throw in is going to cost a little bit more, okay? But as you throw in more Vixys and condense them, you're going to be leveling up that dig here skill. So if you catch a bunch of them and level it up to, I believe it's dig here level 5, you're actually going to be able to unlock the hypersphere. Vixy will have a chance at dropping hyperspheres, which is a level 27 sphere and pretty far up the capture power rankings. Listen, Vixys, for all these reasons, easy to catch, great drops, and the ability to condense them to keep them relevant later on definitely makes them one of the absolute best starter pals for everyone's early game in Palworld. The Tombat is a really excellent early game pal to have on your team. You can see they have a base level of 2 for all 3, transporting, gathering, and mining. This is a really excellent pal to have early on. In the opening zone of the Windswept Hills, they spawn in pretty much everywhere. Because there isn't just one singular spot they're supposed to be, it can sometimes be hard to find them. Because they start with a base level 2 of mining, they can mine the ores, which is really nice for your progression as you move from the early game into the mid game. They also have that level 2 transporting, so they can transport the ores. You definitely want to pick up the monitoring stand at level 14 in your tech tree when you can. Over at the monitoring stand, it's going to give us a little more options to make our Tombats more effective. Sometimes I like to turn one of my Tombats early on into a dedicated transporter so that I click mining off so that it's just transporting materials. This way, I don't just have a million things lying around the base as they try and mine through every rock before they can respawn. I have one of them transporting to help things out. In addition, at the monitoring stand, you can see they're nocturnal. This means that when your other pals are going to sleep after a hard day of work, your nocturnal pals are out there working. It means you need to manage their sanity a little bit better with hot tubs, but it's definitely nice to have some pals that are working around the clock. Again, they spawn in pretty much everywhere in the opening zone. But the key is that they only spawn at night. So if you watch on the lower left of your screen, there's that little icon that changes from the sun into a moon when it's nighttime, and that's when you can catch nocturnal pals like the Tombat. When you go into your Palpedia and you're looking for the habitat, it's going to say, doesn't seem to be active at this time. That's your clue in the bottom right corner. You use the button prompt there to switch the habitat zone from day to night. Then you can see in game, it spawns all over these opening zones. I like to start my hunt from the small settlement fast travel point located here in the map. It's right in the opening section, it's easy to find and get to, and it's inside their spawn zones. From here, I'll usually run up the steps, and I'll make my way over to the left. Sometimes the Tombat's here, sometimes it's not. Eventually, I will find one. I do think it's easier to catch these with a bow and arrow to get a little damage on them rather than your fist or the bat, but you can hit them with a melee weapon. These are a pretty low level beginner tame. You're gonna have no problem catching them with that base level opening PAL starter sphere. The Tombat having level 2 transporting, mining, and gathering makes it an excellent starter tame for your Palworld adventures. An absolute must-have tame for the beginning of your Palworld journey is Penking. Penking is a monster at the base with a ton of great, strong level 2 work suitability. In the Palpedia on the Habitat tab, you can see there's quite a few spots that the Penking does populate. I recommend opening up your map and farming Penking from the Sealed Realm of the Frozen Wings fast travel point. This is a dedicated instance. From the Sealed Realm of the Frozen Ring fast travel point, we'll just make our way up the steps and we'll be at the arena. Penking has level 2 in watering, in handiwork, in transporting, in mining, and cooling. It's really a great tame to have. It offers a lot of utility and power to moving you from the early game strong into the mid game. When you get to the top of the steps, you can enter the dungeon. You can see the level of the dungeon. I'm going to recommend making sure that you take out the little penguins first and then focus on the big penguin. If you happen to enter this at night, the little guys might be sleeping. You can get a jump on them. I have spawn rates set to 3, which means there's 3 of everything. I recommend lowering the spawn rates if you're struggling, so it's a one-on-one fight. I open up the fight taking out the little guys, so I can then focus on the big boys. The biggest challenge of this fight is the need to keep moving so you don't get frozen in place. You're going to spend kind of the first half of the fight mostly dodging and looking for opportunities to sneak in a couple attacks to slim down the numbers of the little guys. Once it's just you and the big boy, it's on. Penking is not a super challenging fight as far as power of fight goes, but if you show up incredibly underleveled or underpowered, it will be more difficult than expected. This is an early game tame that I have had no trouble getting into a PAL sphere. Once you've completed the dungeon, you're going to have a 1-hour cooldown before you can come back in. Back at the base at the monitoring stand, we've got our Vixys working away up to this point. We've got our Tombats working nocturnally, and Penking has some overlap with Tombats. Sometimes I'll turn off the mining on the Penking and leave up all their other very useful skills. Having level 2 watering and handiwork is surprisingly nice to have this early in the game. Penking's ability to mine and transport is also really solid, and his cooling is nice if you do start to get into some beginner refrigeration. Penking is a great utility tame early on. We aren't here flying in circles hoping for the best in slot eggs and then having to wait for them to hatch, and we aren't here cooking merchants to buy our way forward. This guide took a ton of research, testing, and time to put together. If you found it helpful and want to help me making more content like this, consider joining as a channel member or Patreon supporter. Your support directly funds the channel and helps me stay independent. Thank you. I have a really excellent set of options for planting and gathering. There's a really great duo here that work quite well interchangeably. We have Petallia, which is number 87 in the Palpedia, which comes in strong with level 3 planting, level 2 gathering, as well as 2 handiwork and 2 production and 1 in transporting, alongside Vaelet, which is number 78 in the PAL deck, who also has a very strong 3 in medicine production and level 2 in planting, handiwork, and gathering, and 1 in transportation. Starting from the windswept hills, if you come all the way down south, there's an island out here. You are going to need a PAL that can swim or fly to get here, okay? It's the Wildlife Sanctuary number 1. It's going to be illegal to get here. It's a very distinctive place. You're going to see in big letters, criminal activity. If the Island Defense Force finds you here, there will be fights, okay? But for the most part, it's a giant distinct structure. You're going to be able to go just straight south from the windswept hills, that starting zone, into Wildlife Sanctuary number 1. I have spawn rates turned up, so more of them are spawning than would normally be here. These are not the most rare thing to spawn in this zone, but I would consider either of them uncommon. However, since either of these two options here works well for our base, getting us into the best starter pals for this early game section of Palworld, you can catch either one. You've got a really high chance of finding them out here. Again, we're able to use Pal Spheres for both of these tames as they're not a crazy high level. You know, we generally find them well under level 20 or around level 20, which is around the limit of a Pal Sphere. But if you get them low enough on health, you take your time, you whittle them down, you're going to be able to catch these tames. They're really, really excellent planting, gathering tames, as well as medicine if you end up going in that route. Back at base, I have some issues where they finished planting, gathering, etc., and they started transporting, so I went ahead into my monitoring stand, and I told both of them that, hey, I don't really want you guys carrying stuff around. The transporting, it's not what you're best at, and we have lots of other tames that are excellent at this. Overall, as far as the planters, the gatherers, and the medicine tables, if you go with that, these two tames are just really fantastic picks to be able to go out there and catch. When it comes to generating electricity, Grizzbolt is just so fantastic right at the start. He's just a really good team to have in your base. He's got a strong level 3 in generate electricity and a very strong level 3 transporting skill, as well as level 2 in handiwork and lumbering. This is definitely a team you're going to want to have in your base early so you can take advantage of those stats. Again, it's going to be in the wildlife sanctuary here, okay? So see the windswept hills, the starting zone. You go straight south from the windswept hills starting zone. It's a very distinct structure. When you fly up on it, you will need a team that can fly or swim to get here. It is defended by the Island Defense Force. You don't want to mess with those guys, okay? They will fight you. They will try and mess you up. But as you get closer to it, you're going to see criminal activity underway. And just try not to fight those guys, okay? Oftentimes, I think Grizzbolt is the most rare spawn on this island. I will clear up the island once, twice, 3 times. It'll be a bit of a slaughter sometimes, but eventually it will spawn in. It doesn't have to be at day or at night. It spawns in. I found it in both times, at day and at night. This time we're here in the day, so maybe it only spawns during the day, but it's very close to the night cycle, but I did get it to spawn in. Now, this is probably also the hardest thing to fight on the island. Even at the lower levels of the things on the island here, you know, it's around level 20. It's still actually pretty tough to fight. It's got a lot of tough moves and a little bit of a stun effect with the electricity. But again, you want this team. It's such a good early game team. Having that strong level 3 electricity, level 3 transporting skill, just really nice for your base. And the handwork lumbering at level 2 is nothing to scoff at. We can catch these in Pal Spheres. It's pretty tough to do. You don't want to bring a lot of spheres, but get that status effect going, get their stat points, you know, get them lower down. You know, maybe you've got some Lift Monk effigies that you've been turning in successfully. You're going to be able to catch these guys with Pal Spheres when they're at this kind of lower level, around level 20. And they're going to be a really, really strong pal to have back at your base. At my base over here on the monitoring stand, I actually really don't want this guy helping build things or logging. I'm really content with him just to be generating electricity. Okay, and when he finishes capping the electricity, if there's nothing more there to do, he'll go and start transporting stuff. 2 skills he is locked in at level 3 at. Very nice. Kindling is one of the last things we're missing in our base here, and the Wixen is a really nice tame. It's a little bit of a distance to travel, but from the windswept hills, you can see here, we're going to head up and to the right. You're going to probably want a flyer or something to ride to get here. You can do it on foot. You genuinely can run the whole way here. It just takes a while, but it's a fun little trip if you want to do it on foot. I recommend going there as fast as you can. You know you're kind of in the right zone where the Wixens are spawning in. There's going to be this giant kind of bone, ribs, carcass of some beast. There's going to be these big Yormantides in here, which are a great tame, but they're beyond our abilities here in the early game. You know, they're closing in on level 40, and we're just not quite there yet. These Wixens are going to spawn out here. They're going to be walking around. They've got their little red hats. They're pretty dangerous. They can light you on fire and really get your health pretty low. But again, under level 20 here, no problem using a Pal Sphere to get these guys down. And reasons we want them: level 2 Kindling's excellent, level 2 Transporting's not bad at all, and level 3 Handiwork, really, really, really nice. These are a great early game team that gets you on your way. We haven't talked anything about breeding. If you want to learn more about how to breed your way to the best pals, this video right here is for you. If you like this video, click like, YouTube channel members, and the Patreon to support what I do. I'm Vadd. I'll see you in the next one. And it's the breeding guide right here. Go ahead and click that. I'll be there. You'll be there. It'll be really great.